The one thing I was looking forward to in 2018 was Range Trooper. There was not anything else I was looking forward to this year than farming Range Trooper. I'm a simple guy, not asking for much. But our worst nightmares have come true. Range Trooper is a hard-node farm, ladies and gentlemen.
I need it now.
If it's not too late, Capital Games, please give me one more way to farm Range Trooper so I don't have to wait till 2019. Oh, but let's not get too sad, ladies and gentlemen. I still have 9 more minutes with you guys before this video's over. Now, there's actually a lot I want to talk about in this video. Obviously, in case you didn't see already, the rest of the Han Solo movie characters and ships have now been released free to play farmable. Range Trooper, Enfys Nest, very important but very hard to get. Lando's Falcon, Young Lando, and L337. Luckily, L337 is a much easier farm. But what I want to talk about right now is something that has been on the minds of many of us out there, the current status of marquee events, because it seems like myself, many other YouTubers across the community, it seems like the marquee structure right now is getting pretty stale, but from indications from the developers on Reddit, it seems like a lot of legendary events are coming down the pipes quite soon. Now, before we start talking about the evidence that the developers are kind of teasing about legendary characters, I think a lot's actually in store with legendary events. We got to talk about the current state of marquee events, and I've kind of showed my sentiments spread across many videos. Even on a live stream I did, I kind of talked about my feelings on the marquee system, but I'll give you a quick summary as to what I feel about them, the pros and cons, and kind of bring up the conversation the developers had and how they're kind of aware of a lot of the concerns that we're having. Now, there's actually a lot of pros to the marquee system, believe it or not. Way back when, if you didn't play the game a couple years ago, when new characters were released, they were pretty much either tossed in what was called an Erodium pack, which was a character that was strictly pay to play. Captain Rex, for example, you couldn't get him to 2 stars, 3 stars for free. You had to get the character with crystals, which most likely used money to get, and you'd have to wait who knows how many months before they're accessible. Or the B2 Super Battle Droid pay-to-play character, and 1 month later became free-to-play. There wasn't a structure to the system, and unless you spent money, you didn't get the character. Now, unlike with the marquee system, you're pretty much getting a 2, 3-star character, and sometimes, like Darth Nihilus, I believe a 4-star character, and you at least got something. And the good thing is, especially for newer players, those 2, 3, 4-star characters, they actually help you out quite a lot. If a character is good at 3 stars in Arena, that's a huge bang for your buck. We have examples like Scion, Enfys Nest, Bastila, Darth Nihilus. Those are 4 of the biggest examples of marquee characters that were amazing at low stars, and you didn't have to give them the gear 12, 7 stars to get a lot of use of. But now here comes the big problem, and it's mainly towards advanced players, I think, are having the biggest problem with this. If they're on a hard node, you're looking at 9 months to farm, 6 months to farm if you're lucky, and it's hard to get excited in the present when there's no legendary event to kind of break up the marquee monotony, and knowing that you're not going to be able to take full potential of a character, especially for the raids, way into the future, with the few exceptions of those good characters that are pretty good in Arena at a low star count. Now, here's a nice little graph that Meow Baka kind of showed. It's not a full list, but they gave a screenshot of a part of a list, and here it kind of shows, at least it looks like from Grand Admiral Thrawn onwards, how the marquee system has worked. And if you go before Grand Admiral Thrawn, characters like Imperial Super Commando, Gar Saxon, the Phoenix characters, those were all characters that were super free to play accessible, and pretty much up until probably the end of last year, we started seeing this hard shift over to hard node battles, and characters like, for example, Mother Talzin, she was available on October 20th, and I just got her to 7 stars this past July. That's a long time to wait for a character, but luckily Mother Talzin was good at low stars, so not many people complained about that. After Kylo Ren unmasked in the First Order Special Forces TIE Pilot, there was 14 more characters and ships that were released free to play farmable, and out of those 14 characters and ships, 9 of those are hard node characters. And keep in mind, if they're a single hard node character or ship, it's going to take you at least 6 months to get it free to play, and probably even more if you're not too lucky. And the first comment we got to start with is some of the top brass at Capital Games, EA Carey. I've had her in an interview before, awesome person, and she's been very vocal on the Reddit page, and I'm glad she's very transparent about how Capital Games is viewing the current marquee system. I'm going to read this in its entirety because it's very important for the rest of the conversation we have in this video. She starts off by saying, "For sure, we've been going round and round on the marquee thing for a few months now. Going into this year, everything we saw in the data told us, wow, people really like marquees, and there were lots of reasons for that. But our first focus was to make sure there was predictability, because when the marquees first came out, there wasn't a lot of predictability when it came to marquees. And here's where they started noticing that things weren't looking too good for Marquee events. We got midway through the solo squad and people aren't responding the way they did last year. And I felt it as well. There was not a lot of engagement with the solo characters. They weren't really that good, to be honest. And I think that's when I really started to feel the pain of the Marquee structure. But the mistake that she admits is that they should have interspersed more legendary events and Hero's Journey events in between the Marquees to give us a break. That is one of the biggest problems. It's Marquee, 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 and no legendaries in between to kind of get excited about. The upside to this, and I'm not saying that I would do this again next year the same way, which is a good sign. Hopefully next year they don't do the same thing like they've been doing so far this year. But the upside for you all is that with so many Marquees coming out in the front half of the year, they will all be on the table by the time you could possibly need them, which as a part of the character release cadence is something we are trying to be bullish about sticking to, and on the table longer if you got Marquee, Marquee Legendary that requires said Marquee rinse and repeat. Right now the system is Marquee, Marquee, Marquee ad infinitum, and hopefully a decent amount of legendaries. Here comes the good part, and other fun stuff that you're already on track to farming, and you guys are smart and we've laid clues, so you know. Pretty much what they're saying is, yeah, we realized that we kind of loaded you guys up with Marquee characters, and they're planning on, for looks like the second half of their fiscal year, they're planning on starting to dump some legendary characters that are most likely connected to the stuff we've already gotten this year with the early Marquees, and we'll talk about what could be on the table. We talked about it before, but we'll kind of bring some of it up towards the end of the video here. And this comment also comes from Carrie. She was on a different Reddit post talking about the future of Marquees. So if you thought that earlier comment we read means, oh, no more Marquees, yay, they're going to keep the Marquee system as we see here. But pretty much they admit again that they released too many Marquees in a short period of time with no legendaries or heroes journeys to break it up, and they're not doing away with the Marquee structure, but what they're planning on doing is taking the feedback and kind of applying that to the future of Marquee. So there will be more Marquees, but we will try to offer more relief as soon as we possibly can. So that's good to hear. So I mean, the Marquee system isn't bad. We talked about the benefits. You get a free character, and it's too bad they don't adhere to how they used to do Marquees, where a character can go in Squad Arena, Galactic War, Cantina Store. There was so much variety to farm characters, whereas now you don't get a lot of relief in between, and they're mostly like 70-60% hard node farms. And here's another little hint I kind of came across on the Reddit. We have our senior community manager, CG's SB Crumb. This is in regards to a post talking about how people want to increase the number of times they can sim hard battles, and CG as a Crumb here, they kind of go and they say, I hear you, let me put this on the front of the team again and remind folks how much better it makes the hard node grind feel. I think now is the right time to push for this, just in case there's a particular event in the future that people need certain characters for, ... winky face. So we got two top brass people over at Capital Games. CG, Carrie, giving us the, oh, you guys are smart, you can figure it out. And we have our community manager, SB Crumb, giving us the winky face with 3 dots. When you see 3 dots, that's when you know things are serious. And looking at the hints we've gotten this year and the Marquee characters we've gotten this year, I think there's 3 possible legendary events that we can see. And if they even admit that they front-loaded the Marquee events to get us ready for a lot of legendary events, we are going to be in for quite the ride. So let me give you the 3 ideas that I have in regards to what legendary characters we could see this year. I think the number one most likely thing that's going to happen, there's been so many teasers, there's been so many hints, we're going to see probably a Darth Revan or a Malik type of journey event or a legendary event in regards to all the Knights of the Old Republic characters. The 2 biggest things coming out of 2018 so far are Old Republic characters, Sith, and Bounty Hunters. So far, those are the 3 biggest things, or I'll say Scoundrels. Scoundrels, Bounty Hunters, and Sith are 3 or 4 of the biggest things that's happened in 2018. So I think if there is going to be a legendary event coming in the next month or 2, it's probably going to do something with that, because we've gotten so many teasers on Revan not happening earlier this year, but it's going to probably happen sometime later in the game. And as I said, the other heavy push so far this year was Scoundrels, and more importantly, Bounty Hunters. Earlier on this year, we had the original trilogy Bounty Hunters get reworked, and we had Boss become available. And later on this year, during this August, where it's mostly a Clone Wars content month, we got a lot of Clone Wars Bounty Hunters and a rework for Cad Bane. And oddly enough, Zam Wesell was not reworked, and I think that was intentionally done because Zam Wesell has a close tie to Jango Fett. So we're speculating right now, but I think a Jango Fett or some sort of legendary bounty hunter event could be in the works, seeing on how hard the Capital Games has been focusing on the bounty hunters this year and leaving Zam Wesell as the only Clone Wars bounty hunter character not reworked yet from the bounty hunter faction. And then the third thing, which I'm not quite sure would happen, but as people noticed with the Solo movie, we kind of missed a couple of new characters that we were really expecting. Dryden Voss, Beckett, and I know people are expecting Mud Trooper. I don't expect Mud Trooper to come into the game. I feel like he won't be added, but Dryden Voss and especially Beckett are two big characters I'm surprised that weren't added to the game. And with this, the release of the Han Solo DVD sometime in September, I believe, I think there's a good possibility we might see at least some sort of new character from the Solo movie. I don't know if Beckett and Dryden Voss and especially Mud Trooper are legendary events, but someone could probably make the argument that they should be legendary characters. Or, again, spoiler alert, as we saw at the end of the movie, Darth Maul was kind of the center of a crime lord syndicate, and we didn't see much of Darth Maul in that movie, but there's probably going to be future movies with Darth Maul having more of an appearance, so maybe there's some sort of Darth Maul legendary event. That's a big stretch, but I think in terms of the most likely things to happen, probably an Old Republic legendary event, probably a bounty hunter thing, hopefully Jango Fett release with a Separatist rework in September. I don't know, just guessing right now, and maybe some sort of Solo legendary character if I had to guess, based on all the Marquee stuff that happened this year and the other hints we've gotten throughout the year. We'll have to wait and see. Let me know down below, what do you think is coming with legendary events, because I'm pretty certain in the next month or 2 or 3 we're going to get some sort of legendary event, seeing how overdue we are. And last year we got like 5 or 6 legendary events. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, go ahead and leave me a like, comment down below, and subscribe so you're not missing a thing. And until the next video.
Party Richter, down, 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 down. Party Richter, son of a bitch. Party Richter, down, down, down.